Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, I'm going to be showcasing another buffed Pokemon from the Season 24 Balance Update, and that is Lickitung. Lickitung was once the greatest Pokemon the Great League had to offer, but last September, with a severe nerf to Body Slam, Lickitung disappeared. However, a year later, with Body Slam getting some of its damage back, I think Lickitung can return to the meta as a Pokemon that offers a lot of neutral matchups across the board. I paired up Lickitung with Corviknight and Galarian Corsola and went 8-2 with this team. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and let's check out Lickitung once again making its return to the Great League. Hopping into the first match, picking up a bit of a tricky lead, Lickitung into Togekiss. Now, while Lickitung can win the 2-shield there, I don't necessarily want to stay in and take an Aura Sphere. So I bank energy, save switch into my Corviknight, they chip me with an Aura Sphere, and then they're going to send out Empoleon. That Aura Sphere should allow Empoleon to knock me out with a Hydro Cannon, but Payback is going to inflict massive damage onto the Penguin. Empoleon very carefully times its Hydro Cannon to be thrown right before I'm able to make an Air Cutter. Back in comes Lickitung. I know that a Hydro Cannon will do less than an Aura Sphere, so ideally I want to try and exit with as much energy as possible. I'm expecting they'll try and CMP-tie here with an Aura Sphere. They do have one banked, so I'm going to switch into Corsola and catch the Aura Sphere where it's going to be double resisted. That does almost no damage. In the back is going to be Kanto Marowak. Marowak does have a pacing advantage. This is the non-Shadow Marowak. Shadow obviously always going to be preferred, but these Bone Clubs are not going to do a lot of damage, so I'm more than happy to no-shield, return fire with the Nightshade, and when they go for another Bone Club, I am again still going to be no-shielding. Now I get to switch into Lickitung. Lickitung will get to knock them out with a Body Slam, and with the energy advantage that I have, I am pretty confident that I'm going to land at least one Body Slam, and the moment I land a Body Slam, the game will be over, as through a combination of Licks and Astonishes, I can farm down. They no-shield the first, and at this point, their fate is sealed. As these Licks just add up more and more, they're going to fire off a charge attack, burning one of my shields. I go for a Body Slam, but at this point, I can just win off of fast moves. The Body Slam will get them low. Once I get them deep into the red, I can switch into Corsola, snipe down with 2 Astonishes, and take the Game 1 win. We move to the next match, and oh, what a lead. Lickitung into Corsola. They save switch into Shadow Quagsire, and my goodness, Lickitung is just breaking teams. Quagsire, I could have stayed in with the Lickitung, but I decided I'd rather bring in the Corsola, as Corsola does a great job at absorbing this energy. Even if my opponent is able to make a play for alignment, as long as I can get shields down, Corviknight can obviously go for a Payback, which would inflict some pretty serious damage. I go for an Undercharge on the Nightshade, they end up shielding it, and I decide, since I've gotten them very low with Astonishes, I will actually concede switch advantage. Aqua Tail will knock out the Corsola, so my opponent has one switch, but this will set up a massive farm down for Lickitung. Lickitung going to be chipped now with an Aqua Tail. Opponent is going to pivot in the back. They have Dedenne, and this game is just over. As Dedenne is too far behind the Lickitung, I'm going to get Body Slam after Body Slam into this Dedenne. They haven't boosted up their defense just yet, so they're forced to burn a shield. And the nice thing is Lickitung is very bulky. It's been out of the meta for a year, so we've forgotten. But Parabolic Charge not going to be a problem. Lickitung is going to get to another Body Slam. They've buffed up their defense, but the combination of Licks and Body Slams mean Dedenne is now deep into the red health. Dedenne will boost up their defense once again. Can they avoid getting farmed down here by the Corviknight? They cannot, and that is game over. I just have to watch for a catch, which means throwing in the middle of their Astonish. They try for the catch. They do not get it, and they will resign the match. Picking up a winning lead in the next match, Lickitung into Marowak. Marowak going to stay in this matchup to start with, which works out very nicely for me. They're now going to pivot into Corviknight. I don't have a great check to a save switch Corviknight other than banking a ton of Lickitung energy and bringing in my own Corv. I will lose alignment here, but I'm hoping that the energy on Lickitung will be enough to carry me to a win. They connect with a Payback. I'm going to be firing off a Payback as well. My Payback is going to be getting quite a lot of damage onto that Corviknight. I will get outpaced. I can't even make an Air Cutter, but this can potentially set up a really nice farm down for the Corsola. So in comes the Corsola. Corsola looking for a lot of farm. They will fire off a move. This is enough for a Payback, so I will shield. It's an Air Cutter bait, and now they're going to bring back in that Marowak. Marowak will take a lot of damage from Nightshade. Nightshade is going to be no-shielded. They under-tap, potentially watching for a snipe, but I do not go for it. Instead, I'm going to snipe here. Unfortunately, I do get one turn there, so I only throw one lick and the body slam. Body slam is going to connect. They're saving 2 shields. Oh no, for Charizard. Shadow Charizard is back. It is at meta status, and it is a terrifying Pokemon to encounter. This Charizard is on Dragon Breath, so they have slightly worse energy generation, but a lot more fast move damage. Lickitung gets to the body slam, and landing this move, I believe, should put me in a pretty nice spot. I end up shielding the air cutter, but landing this body slam will get the Charizard very low. Charizard now deep into the red health. Charizard gonna get farmed down. Oh my goodness, I have lost. I didn't realize Corviknight had the air cutter banked. They banked a blast burn on the Charizard, and that's gonna be the win. Beautiful gameplay from my opponent. What a beautifully played game. Oh my goodness, I just got cooked. We move to the next match, leading Lickitung into a familiar foe of Togekiss. Last time I banked energy and save switched into the Corviknight. This time I'm going to try how it feels to just stay in and play the lead out. I will obviously have to go down a shield, but Lickitung should be able to brute force alignment as needed. And Corviknight plus Corsola should be really good with switch advantage. They connect with the Aura Sphere, it's super effective damage, but obviously Lickitung can hang on. And now I'll start putting up shields. They're going to pivot out here, sending in Hypno. I bank energy, send in the Corsola, and this was only 4 confusions, so I am going to let this go. But I forgot, Confusion got buffed. 4 confusions means a Shadow Ball. That's big damage, and that is not ideal. I have not looked at the new Hypno counts. I'm able to land that Nightshade in the back. That's basically the best Pokemon that I can see. It is Toadscruel. Toadscruel is going to have a really tough time into the Corviknight. I'm able to land the Nightshade, which is very nice. They're saving 2 shields for that Togekiss. They will get some chip damage with the wrap, but the big thing is going to be the debuff. As with the wrap, I'm now going to take substantially more damage until I switch. So I grab a shield with the air cutter, send in the Lickitung, and Lickitung will go for the body slam. I believe I'm healthy enough to make one final body slam. It's going to be very close. Togekiss commits to the farm down, but Lickitung hangs on. We survive the peck, KO with the body slam, in comes the Toadscruel, and we escape with the win. Hopping into the next match, we pick up a good lead Lickitung into Altaria. Lickitung, I believe, should win all events into Altaria, so this is a great spot to be. Lickitung, more than happy to play this out, safe in the knowledge that at the very least Corviknight will not have to face the Altaria, as that's a pretty negative matchup. They connect with the Sky Attack, I'm going to fire back with the Body Slam, and Altaria is very unlikely to shield in this matchup just due to the fact that Body Slams do such little damage. They try for a catch onto a Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn, not a Pokemon I would necessarily think of running in this meta. I think there are just a lot better options. Corviknight does take quite a lot of damage from the Thunder. I'm going to need 2 charge attacks anyway, so I go for the air cutter first to fish for the boost. I do not get the boost. They go for a Power Whip, and this, in my eyes, is a pretty big misplay. As Power Whip does not knock out, I can always survive there, and now I can so severely overfarm with the Corviknight. Corviknight, payback is going to land. I switch into Lickitung, trying to snipe them down with the licks, but they had the same idea as they send in Altaria. Sky Attack connects, but Lickitung is too bulky. I withstand the damage. I'm going to get the back-to-back body slams. First will connect. Second one will just knock them out unless they decide to put up a shield. They still have the Ferrothorn, but it's deep into the red. In the back is going to be Empoleon, and this game is over, as Corsola will just be able to completely farm everything down. My opponent realizes that it's over, and they end up throwing a BM Drill Peck, but realistically, even if they Hydro, there's just no way out because they can never Metal Sound down a Corsola. Because I just click Shield twice, and then everything feigns to Astonish. There is the Hydro Cannon from my opponent, and there, at long last, is going to be the top left. We move to the next game. Lickitung is going to be met with a Corviknight. This is a bad lead. Lickitung used to be able to do fine into Skarmory, but into Corviknight, Corviknight is a stronger Mon, so unfortunately Lickitung cannot win that matchup. So I farm up a little bit of energy and just bring in my own Corv. They're now going to send out Galarian Corsola. Galarian Corsola plus Corviknight, a core that I'm also running. I think it's a pretty cool core. I'm able to land the payback. That's big damage. Here I see him P-tie on an air cutter, and I will go for an undercharge. Now this is calculated because I want as much farm on Lickitung as I can possibly get. My opponent does not go for an undercharge. They're just going to knock me out, but in comes Lickitung. And this is the reason why I undercharged. Look at the farm. They do not get their Power Gem. In comes Corviknight, answered with the Corsola. In the back, they have Empoleon. So my opponent running ABA Steel. I know that I'm going to have to survive one Hydro, so I will always be no shielding, but as we know from the previous game, they can never farm me down. So I should be in a pretty nice spot with the Corsola. Corsola's Nightshade will be shielded up by the Empoleon. Empoleon now going to have to double shield, and my switch clock will be up very soon. Only one more Astonish. There's the clock. I switch and I click the Power Whip. Did CMP trigger here? It did. We no shield the Hydro Cannon, but the big thing is the Power Whip will land on its intended target of Empoleon. In comes the Corviknight, but Corviknight just has no way of winning. I'm not even in payback range, so I will not be shielding. Two shielded Corsola cannot lose this game. Payback lands, it does not do enough damage. This Body Slam does some helpful chip damage, and now in comes Corsola, and Corsola is just absolutely inevitable in this endgame. They can go for air cutters, fishing for boosts. They do get the boost, but unfortunately, it just simply will not matter. Galarian Corsola, Nightshade connects. One additional Astonish after that will secure the win. Lickitung into Shadow Torterra in the next match. Shadow Torterra is a Pokemon that got access to Mud Slap this season. Torterra is going to stay in this matchup to start with, and I'm going to chip with a Body Slam. I'm going to try and go for a catch onto Corviknight, so I will switch into the Corviknight. Unfortunately, my catch attempt is not successful. Even if they're running Stone Edge, I'm always going to be no shielding the Corviknight. They do have Stone Edge, and now out comes Lantern. I'm a little bit surprised that they ended up throwing the Stone Edge there when they probably could have banked the energy and then brought in the Lantern in one alignment anyway, but it definitely does work in my favor. So now, after waiting my timer, I will bring back in the Lickitung. This is going to be a game that's won or lost with two shield Corsola trying to take home this win. Surf will connect from the Lantern. Unfortunately, I'm getting outpaced here. I can only get to a Body Slam. Body Slam will not be enough to KO. They're at their next Surf, but this will not be enough to KO Lickitung. So, it's time. I send in the Corsola. Corsola's gonna have to win this game for me. In the back is Togekiss, and this is tough. I think they probably have too much damage to where I can't win this game. The unfortunate thing is, if I just stay in with the Lickitung, I definitely win zeros against the Torterra, because Torterra is just not going to do enough damage, and then my Corsola would have been in a great spot to close out the game. But unfortunately, I ended up trying to go for a catch, I got a little fancy with it, and it ended up backfiring. There is still a path to victory if I'm able to get a catch here. I'm going to throw two and then wait a turn, so I switch. They actually end up switching as well. I didn't have the move at that time, but there's just too much fast move pressure available as in comes Torterra. A Mud Slap lands. I will fire off this Nightshade. The Togekiss is very low. I can almost Astonish down, but I fall agonizingly short. Hopping into the final match, and we see the Nightmare lead. Lickitung into Wigglytuff. I save switch into Corviknight. Wigglytuff banks 3 charms, sends out a Mandibuzz. What is this doing here? Part of why I can run so weak to Dark Flyers is Mandibuzz got nerfed. With the nerf to Aerial Ace, Mandibuzz is so much worse than it was. Unfortunately, Mandibuzz beats my entire team. And Wigglytuff beats both Corsola and Lickitung. How am I going to play my way out? Well, I'm going to start by heavily investing in Corviknight, so I will be committing the shield on the Dark Pulse, continuing to spam out Air Cutters and hoping for boosts. Air Cutter is going to land, and I get my first boost. That is very, very helpful, as I just need as much damage as I can get. This Air Cutter will still not KO, but I get a second boost. Now, the sand attacks into, even if I bring back in the Wigglytuff, will actually hurt. I double shield Dark Pulses. I'm farming up with the Corviknight, going for another Air Cutter, and I just want them to let it go. The Air Cutter lands. They do let it go. In the back is Bastiodon, and look at the sand attacks go. Corviknight putting on a show. Corviknight farms up until right before they make their flamethrower. Payback, it's double boosted. Big damage. We catch out of it onto the Lickitung. Despite a lead that completely core breaks my team to smithereens in Wigglytuff and a counter swap Mandibuzz that beats my entire team, I'm gonna win this game. Wigglytuff can go for the Icy Wind, making sure that my Body Slams do basically no damage, but I should just be in a strictly winning position now, because I can get a little bit of chip damage into this Wigglytuff. It's not much, but I'll be able to switch out. My switch clock will be up due to this catch. I can send in the Corviknight and go for the Air Cutter, and the moment I pull a shield away from Wigglytuff, this game ends. Wigglytuff is going to try for a farm down, but Corviknight putting the entire team on his back in this final game. Core broken, but it simply did not matter, and in comes Galarian Corsola. A matchup like this is where the lowered charm damage will betray Wigglytuff. I'm just going to continue to farm up more and more. They can get me to -2 attack, but I can just switch. I send in the Lickitung. Now my attack stat is back to normal. In comes Corsola. I wait the turn. The moment I see the charm start, I can connect with this Power Gem. Power Gem is going to KO. In comes the Bastiodon. Oh, I was going to Power Gem it, but unfortunately they will concede the match before I can go for the Power Gem. After a year of no Lickitung, honestly, this is a Pokemon that I am a little bit excited to see back in the meta. I think having strong neutral options is part of what can make a meta feel a lot less RPS. If you end up having Pokemon like Lickitung that are able to just absorb hits in neutral matchups and allow you to reposition. I do think that in a much shorter switch timer than Lickitung has ever played in, Lickitung's ability to just be a damage sponge is a bit negated, just because traders will have the ability, especially if you try and chip and then bring in your Lickitung, to throw 1 to 2 charge attacks, and then they can just switch out and punish the desync in those timers. So I don't think Lickitung is quite back to its top tier best Pokemon in the Open Great League status, but I think Lickitung is still a really good option. It offers a tremendous amount of bulk. Not a lot of teams are necessarily preparing for Lickitung at the moment, so I feel like you can really catch teams off guard, especially if they're running a lot of Glassy Mons, just with the fact that even if you run into something like a Charizard, you can just tank a Blast Burn neutrally, which is very helpful. So this team, it's definitely probably one of the most bulky teams I've ever run, and maybe the bulkiest team that'll run this entire season. But I kind of wanted to see, can you just outbulk things and have success? And it seems like the answer might be yes. Corviknight, obviously the glassiest Mon on this team, was still able to put in a ton of work in that final battle. I really like Galarian Corsola's neutrals, as not a lot of teams have Ghost Resists, and that's another reason why I like Lickitung, because without Lickitung, Galarian Corsola is so free in this meta. I was watching a Go Battle League stream the other night, and I believe it was like 3 or 4 sets straight of no teams with a single Ghost Resist. So if you're running into that, then it could be worth giving Galarian Corsola a try, or if you're seeing a lot of Galarian Corsola, maybe bringing back out that Lickitung. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is so sincerely appreciated, so thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.